What's up, Firewalking fam? Welcome back. Y'all probably know that we're moving to Taiwan very soon, and that I applied for the Taiwan Gold Card, which is a visa for foreign special professionals. I applied in the music category and was conditionally approved about 14 months ago. But now that we're getting ready to go to Taiwan, I need to complete my approval process and then also get the dependent visas for my wife and kids. And it has been a royal pain in my... No, I don't know how it's gonna be, but I'm ready for anything I do. Alright guys, this is an update on our move to Taiwan. We are currently here in Mexico for a few more weeks, and then we'll be back in Florida. So I have scheduled my passport inspection with the Tico branch in Florida, and hopefully I will have my Taiwan Gold Card visa very soon. And then we're gonna try to finagle a school registration, public school registration for my son. So we'll try our best to get that sorted after I get my gold card in May. And then we do have our flights booked. So we are moving to Taiwan in late July. Currently, Taiwan is relaxing its quarantine requirements for inbound travelers, and I think it's 7 days, and they're allowing home quarantine. So if it doesn't get worse, if it stays as is, then that'll be fine with me. 7-day quarantine at home is not as daunting as a 2-week or worse hotel quarantine, especially if our family had to be separated. So we'll see, and totally understand that the situation is fluid. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah, and so after I do my passport inspection, then I will apply for my family dependent visas. And I know, actually, I've already just gotten a question about that today, about how that process is going. So I don't know yet. I've actually tried to ask multiple times and have not gotten an answer. I know that I'll need to get some paperwork, birth certificates, marriage certificates. But if I can do everything in one trip, in one visit, then I'll do that in Miami. If it's going to be a prolonged process, then I may need to see whether I can get this completed in, LA, San Francisco, or Atlanta. These are the other cities that we'll be in later on in the summer that have Tico branches as well. So we'll see. But it is exciting that we sort of have everything coming together now. We are moving to Taiwan. It is happening in just a few months. What's up, guys? It's a month later, and even though the process is not over yet, I decided I can give an update before I put out this video. So I did take in my passport for inspection at the Tico in Miami. Relatively painless process. 2 days later, I got a notification in my gold card application portal that my gold card was ready to be picked up. I have a PDF of my authorization, which is what I will use to go to Taiwan. So then the next step was to apply for some type of permit for my family to enter Taiwan as well. And so we spent a few weeks gathering those documents, and just this past week went back to the Tico Miami to apply for resident visas for dependents to enter Taiwan. And we left out a couple things. The checklist that Tico Miami sent to me was missing one item, which is the FBI background check. So that's probably going to be our biggest issue. I'll come back to that in a second. The other items that we needed, pretty straightforward: birth certificates, marriage licenses, declarations for things from COVID to our quarantine hotel or house, our flights, bank statements. But the other thing that was a hang up was the medical health records. For my wife, it was kind of a painful process. She had to go through a lot of 2 different blood tests, 1 chest x-ray, and then figure out a way to not only take those tests, but then also go to a medical professional who would then read those tests and then vouch for her and sign off the documents. They actually have 3 different signatures that they want, as well as a notary to notarize that she is the person who is doing those tests. So it's a little bit complicated, and it's definitely an inconsistent requirement. I've heard from people who went to other TICOs where things were far less stringent. So here in Miami, this is what we had to do. This seems to be essentially following the rules to the T, and fortunately we've gotten everything taken care of except for the FBI background check. So for this, my wife had to order it online, then she had to go to the post office to do her fingerprinting, and then we have to wait a few weeks to get those results. I'm really hoping it comes quickly, but then once we get those, we're gonna have to then send those results to the TICRO in Washington, D.C. for them to authenticate, because they are the only place that's allowed to authenticate the background check. Miami can't do it. So we have to actually send those things to D.C. along with a self-addressed stamped envelope and payment. And then they will send their authentication to the TICO Miami, at which point TICO Miami can then begin to process our visa. So I'm thinking at best we can wait maybe 4 weeks for all of that to be finished, and then the TICO in Miami needs to begin processing our visa, because they say that will take 4 weeks, and then we're pushing really close to our departure date for Taiwan. So what we can do as a backup plan is have my wife, instead of her applying for a resident visa, we can instead change hers to just a special entry permit to visit. It's like a visitor visa, and then when we get to Taiwan, we'll then have to apply for her resident visa. So doing all these steps would be necessary either way. The only downside would then be that we have to pay an extra application fee, $180 US, to do that process again. So hopefully we don't have to, but we'll wait and we'll see how long this background check takes. The FBI, and also the FBI background check isn't actually called that. Identity History Summary Check is what it's called. And this could have been done months ago. We really didn't have to wait. I just didn't know about this, so it's totally my mistake. Granted, things are inconsistent, and I did not receive this on the checklist from TICO Miami. That said, I could have talked to other people that I knew who had gone through this process. I could have been more thorough in investigating beforehand. Yeah, that's it. I'll, of course, update again in the future just to tie it all together. TICO Miami has all of our visa stuff. Once they process it, they will mail it to us before we leave for Taiwan. So we're not involving any of the other branches, LA, San Francisco, Atlanta. It's just going to be with Miami, and then they're going to mail us our package once it's finished. As always, thanks for following along. If you have questions, comments, whatever, feel free to reach out. Dependent for res but once, so just to
16 driving in a Cadillac, she hit the open road and she won't be back. Yeah, she's like the wind.